and we will take questions for the student athletes when you're ready.
Philip Marshall from Auburn 247 Sports. You guys and Coach Pearl have talked a lot about Jared and how vital he is to this team winning. Could y'all just talk about what that is exactly, what it is he brings that makes him so important?
I'll go. You know, he's the extra threat that we have, and he's one of the leaders on the team. He's been overlooked, just like quite few of us on the team, and he brings that dog to the team, along with me and Mustapha and other players like Deshaun. So he's a great asset for us. He's a little general for us, and you know, he plays big for us.
Mark Murphy from Inside the Auburn Tigers. Both guys, you had a little injury, illness, whatever, down the stretch. You guys 100% ready physically?
100% ready to go.
Near.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. And also, both guys, what do you think the key to success is going to be tomorrow night for you guys?
Rebounding, playing hard, coming out with energy. You know, can't come out slow, lackadaisical. Just got to come out with maximum energy and effort.
They're supposed to have pretty good guards, so you know, just containing our matchups and winning our matchups, and like Stoph said, just try to out rebound and play harder than the other team.
Justin Ferguson, SEC Country. Bruce and some of your teammates have talked over the last couple of weeks about how important the Italy trip was for you guys to get this far this season. Just looking back at that, now that you are here in the NCAA tournament, how much did that trip lay the foundation? Both of y'all, whoever wants to go first.
You know, I appreciate the administrators and everybody for allowing us to go, because it is a huge reason of our success right now. It's definitely helped us build chemistry and a relationship with all the team, with our whole team and the coaches. So you know, it definitely benefited for this team, and it's taken us a long way.
I think the mentality out there was us against the world. You know, foreign country, foreign people. You know, we didn't know anybody. It was just us. So now it's the same thing. We're in foreign territory right now, so it's us against the world.
James Crepea from AL.com. Guys, you both are obviously the leading scorers on this team. At times when you've each been out, the other one has had to step up, or other guys have had to step up. On this stage and in this caliber of game, do you each feel a bigger onus to pick up what you do and contribute more offensively?
I feel like we're going to continue doing what we're doing, and that's providing the team with scoring and just playing harder than our man and winning our matchup. We've done that all season long, and it's a reason why we've helped lead our team along with other players. So you know, we just go out there and play hard and compete, and you know, let our game do the talking.
Yeah.
Coach has talked about all season, and you guys have as well, about you're at best when everybody contributes, and your record when 4 or 5 guys score in double figures is fantastic. But your last 3 losses have come when it's been 3 guys scoring in double figures. As facilitators as well as scorers, do you feel you have to get, whether it's Davion or Chuma or Malik, the role players, the other players on this team, more involved in order to have better success?
Definitely. Like you said, when everybody contributes, we win, so that's what we got to do.
Matt Stevens, Montgomery Advertiser. 2 different questions. For Bryce, you've kind of talked about it, but can you kind of put into words what this kind of means to be at the NCAA tournament? And did you feel like your freshman year you were anywhere close, and then did it feel like so far away for you? And then for Mustapha, you had the opportunity to go to a lot of different schools that had NCAA tournament histories and better winning traditions. And what was it that was this part of kind of building something at Auburn, that why you kind of picked where you picked?
Well, yeah, for me, it was definitely something that I didn't see that would be this near in the future when I was a freshman. So, yeah, definitely from just seeing the progress that this program has made from my freshman to junior year, just the caliber of players we've gotten and just their mentalities and just how they think about the game and how they go how we all go about as professionals. I feel like you know, it's just been a different environment because we're all trained like we're trying to make it to the next level, and that's how we play as well. I feel like.
I think for me it was just a matter of just going somewhere where I feel like I can make my own mark. I mean, you look at all the other, big name schools that everybody wants to go to that kind of have a tradition. I kind of wanted to help start a tradition somewhere else, and I think that's what we're doing right now.
Any other questions for the student athletes?
Mustapha, this team's loaded with a lot of guys who are not only good high school players, but played on like state championship teams and real strong teams. Do you think that sort of carried over into the team's success this year?
Definitely. I think winning mentality travels no matter where you go. So if you put a bunch of winners together, you're going to get a winning program, and I think that's what we're starting to do.
Brent Scrotenborg, USA Today Sports. I wonder if you guys could talk about how challenging this season has been, going back to last fall and everything that happened. You lost 2 teammates. You lost an assistant coach. It seemed pretty crazy back then. How challenging has this season been since then?
It was very challenging, but part of the things that were happening were just things that were out of our control, and our coaches preached to us. Just do things that you're able to control, and we can't control some of the things that were happening at the beginning of the season. But I can tell you that we've overcome those things, and we've ended up having a pretty good season. And we have much more to show and much more to accomplish.
You feel the same way, Mustapha?
Yeah, definitely the same way.
You guys both talked about the guard matchups in this one, and it's going to be a lot of one-on-one matchups in this game in particular for both of you. Just what do you see in matching up against Riller and Chile in particular in this one, and in particular Chile's ability to get to the line?
It'll be interesting matching up with those 2 guards, and known to be great guards. And that doesn't mean that we won't need a big play out of guys like Deshaun and Horace and Davion and Malik. We still need those guys to play. It's not just about the 2 guards. So me and Mustapha are going to just try to get everybody in the locker room focused in, and of course on those 2 matchups, but worrying about their matchup as well and trying to outplay their matchup as well as we try to outplay ours. So.
Mustapha, Bruce and Jared said last week that they felt like the team needed a kind of a reset this week heading into practice. I know you guys had a contact practice this week and just trying to get back to where you were at the earlier in the season. You feel like you guys have done that this past week?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was definitely after the tournament, trying to find our identity again. The way we defended, the way we played. It was just everything was based on trying to find out who we were again and trying to get back to that. And I think we've been doing a pretty good job of that.
Bryce, among all the things that you've kind of gone through injury-wise this last month, it seemed like in the last on-campus practice you were going through kind of a stomach illness problem. Have you kind of been able to move past that at all, or do you feel like that'll be an issue tomorrow night?
Oh yeah, I'm fine. I was just that was about the first 5 to 10 minutes of that practice. I really just didn't get much sleep the night before. That's all that really was. But yeah, I'm feeling good, feeling great.
Any other questions for the student athletes? One more.
Philip Marshall and Mustapha, you never said anything about Jared. Could you just talk about him and what a guy that can facilitate like he does, as well as shoot like he does, brings?
It's pretty basic. When he plays well, we win. When he doesn't, we don't win. He is the general of our team. He is, he controls the floor. He controls the balance of the team, the offense, and on the defensive end. So when he does what he does, we win. If he doesn't, then we don't win, which goes for everybody pretty much.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you. Make sure, even on the second time around, that you announce who you are and what affiliation, so that helps the ladies over there. All right, again, a reminder, silence your cell phones. Flash photography is prohibited. Make sure you announce your name and media affiliation when asking questions. Up next is Auburn coach Bruce Pearl, and an opening statement, please.
Well, it's great to be back to play for a national championship. I was reminiscing with friends and family and counted up that the fact that this is my 25th time, either as a manager or student assistant or assistant coach or head coach. So it's been a lot of fun getting to play in March. For my children, the NCAA tournament was spring break, and when I got out of coaching for a while, they kind of missed that, being on the road to the Final Four and that one shining moment. I am beyond thrilled that that Auburn was able to win a championship in men's basketball in the SEC. It's only happened 3 times, and it happened in a year when the league was about as good as it's been in a long, long time. I think our team was a team that, in spite of some challenges, came to play every night because we just weren't able to show up and win. We knew we were up against it, and that is that is hard for really talented, deep teams to do in January and February. And so we were able to sneak up because we came to play every night. Now that you get to March, and we're not that we're not sneaking up on anybody, but everybody is excited about playing. Everybody is fully engaged. The reason why I say this is because I've been on really talented teams. I won a national championship in 1995 at Division II Southern Indiana. We finished third in our league. We were one of those teams that may not have been excited about playing in January and February, but you know what? By the time we got in the tournament and said, you know, we only need to win 6 games, and we knew we were talented enough to do it, the cream does tend to rise to the top. And so for us, we got to find a way to play better than we have the last 6 games of the season without Anthony McLemore. One of the things that were ailing us a little bit was we weren't able to practice. We weren't able to have contact practices. We had a couple this week. We survived them. And I'm hoping that that gives us a little bit of an edge as we come to this moment of trying to guard College of Charleston and be able to execute things we need to do to be able to advance.
Questions for Coach Pearl?
Andrew Miller with the Post and Courier in Charleston. This is kind of a matchup between really elite guards. Just talk about Riller and Chile and what you've seen on them in film and what problems they present.
They're handfuls. You know, the matchup of Jared Harper and Bryce Brown and, you know, Riller and Chile, that's a real key matchup for the outcome of the game. Chile is he gets to the foul line 7.5 times a game. He's crafty, he's creative, he's smart. He sells fouls to the officials really well, whether it's driving downhill, taking advantage of angles, or kicking his leg out from 3 and creating some contact and getting an official a call. 3-shot fouls. He's smart. He can go either way, and he can score at the rim. You got to guard him from 3. You can't back off him. You can't close out short on him. He's got size to see over the ball screens. He's a really good player, and he can defend. Riller is just an elite scorer. Terrific athlete, gets downhill, finishes at the rim. Again, doesn't need much time to get that thing off. I mean, those guys are really tough covers. Really tough. They're as tough a covers as we've seen all year long when it comes to, you know, matchups. So Davion Mitchell, Jared Harper, Bryce Brown, those are the 3 guards that are primarily going to be in that rotation, and their ability to contain those guys will go a long way to determine the outcome of the game.
Philip Marshall, Auburn 247 Sports. Bruce, you've talked several times about how important Jared is to this team's success or lack of it. Could you just talk about what it is about him that makes one guy be that special to what you do?
Well, I think it's just like Chile would be for College of Charleston. I think Jared is for us. First of all, he's our quarterback. He's got the ball in his hands at the beginning of every offensive possession, and he's got his hands on the ball at the end of it most of the time. You know, he is our playmaker. He can score, but he knows his responsibilities to make sure that the other 4 guys on the floor are involved and put in positions to make shots, be able to get them the ball in space and make plays, so on and so forth. And he's probably our best communicator defensively, calling out signals and kind of helping set our defense. So when, you know, Jared's had a great year, and there have been a handful of games he hasn't played well, and we've lost in those handful of games. You know, he has to play pretty well for us to win.
JamesCrepea-auth.com. Bruce, a couple of weeks ago when you beat Alabama, you have career performances from role players without Mustapha out there. Since then, whether it's Davion or Chuma or Malik, they are not having those kind of contributions. And I understand outliers. How important, when you talk about everybody has to contribute in your own 3, when 3 guys in the last 3 games, when 3 guys score in double figures, is it for those guys to pick up their contributions offensively?
It's crucial, and offensively and defensively. We play best when everybody contributes, and when the, you know, obviously Jared and Mustapha and Bryce are pretty recognized as 3 of our best players. And but truly, you look at how Deshaun Murray stepped up in the SEC tournament, or there have been times when his play as a really tough matchup has been significant. Or Chuma Okeke, he's got ability to at times be a major factor in games. He's played a little like a freshman the last week or two, and he has the ability to pick up and be a major factor. Malik Dunbar was a guy that had a lot to learn to be able to contribute at the highest level of Division I college basketball, but he's got a lot of physical ability, and he's got a great heart and a great spirit. When we have won games, big games, road games, things like that, we've gotten great contribution from those guys, and the big 3 didn't have to carry us. So there's no question that if we can get those guys going, not just offensively, but overall, because we got 8 guys. We're down to 8 guys. That's it. There's not a 9th man. And, you know, the 9th man is Pat Kine, who is a walk-on on scholarship. That's it.
Justin Ferguson, SEC Country. Bruce, you talked about several times this season how important that Italy trip was to get your team ready for what they ended up doing this year. Now that you guys are at the NCAA tournament and you look back, just how important was that trip to get you guys here?
I think one of the greatest rules that the NCAA has is allowing those foreign trips. From a cultural standpoint, from an academic standpoint, there's nothing like it in the world. And I've traveled with teams since I started in coaching. Oftentimes, almost always, the year following it, we've had really good seasons. That's not the reason just why we do it. But the guys have said that we went to Italy as a team. We came back as a family. Regardless of the moments that you would say were the most precious moments of your life, winning and advancing in the NCAA tournament, the birth of a child, whatever it is, it's because you did that with people that you care about. You did it with friends and family or teammates. That's what makes those moments so special. So when you advance in this tournament, and it's special, you realize that the only way you got to advance is because your players or your coaches or others carried you there. Now you played your role. I've got a job to do. Players got the job to do. But without them, without each other, it's not possible.
Mark Murphy from Inside the Auburn Tigers. What does Chuma need to do to get back playing like he was? He's been rebounding really well, but offensively he hasn't been on.
Well, I think it's a confidence factor for him, too. Chuma can score inside and out. He can score in multiple ways. And kind of rely on him a little bit with just his 3-ball. He can do a lot more than that. Thing I talked to Chuma about, just trust your instincts. He knows how to pass. He knows how to put in the floor. He knows how to defend. He knows how to rotate and take a charge. He can do more out there, and he's a high-end rebounder. But for us to win, he has to do more. You know, we talked about losing Anthony. We lost our best rim protector. We lost our best finisher around the basket, somebody that you use in ball screen to roll or pop. I mean, he was a dynamic weapon. But as a result of him playing not 20 minutes, Horace is playing more, Deshaun's playing more, and Chuma's playing more. Well, that's not a bad thing because they all bring things to the table. The one thing that none of them are bringing, with the exception of Horace, and sometimes that creates foul problems, is rim protection. That's something that Anthony could do that not many other 6'7" guys in this country can do, and that's block him and change him. And we missed that, clearly missed that. But Chuma, even though he's a freshman and having to play center, I didn't recruit him to play center. He was going to play 4 or maybe 3. But because of no Austin Wiley, no D'Angelo Purifoy, no Anthony McLemore, he has to play 5 for about 20 minutes a game.
This team is loaded with players who either won state championships or came close to it. What kind of factor can that be in postseason? I
love guys that won championships, and you're right. More than half of our roster have been state champions at some point, sometimes multiple. And, you know, those guys, they got it. They know how to win. And that's something that we certainly can rely on at this time of the year.
Matt Stevens, Montgomery Advertiser. Bruce, now that you're here, can you talk about 2 and 3 years ago how far away it felt and seemed like the NCAA tournament was, or did you know you were closer because Jared Harper, Mustapha, Heron, et cetera, were coming?
I thought that the way the roster was being built, that we could get here, but we needed to get here this year, because I said at the beginning of the year I thought this was an NCAA tournament team, and I felt like this was the year we were going to make that move. I thought the personnel was there. I needed to make sure that I was there, that I was good enough to be able to pull the strings and do the things that I needed to do to get us back where Auburn belongs. And so I had confidence that this could be a very special year. I wasn't sure we could win the league, but I knew we can get here. And I obviously wanted the kids to be able to experience this. You know, we have to play College of Charleston, New Mexico State, Clemson, you know, Auburn. One of those 4 teams going to the Sweet 16, and it's going to take 2 wins to do that. And I think all 4 teams in this bracket think they have a chance. They have a legitimate chance. I don't see anybody in this bracket, regardless of us being seeded 4, Clemson 5, head and shoulders above anybody else. It's going to be very competitive.
Ellie Lieberman, SB Nation. Beyond Mustapha being a great ball player, as you know, he's also an activist off the court with against gun violence. What do you think about that?
I think it's great. I think when student athletes use their platform to be able to try to make a difference, Mustapha's got a program at home against gun violence. He's also got a reading program at home for kids to promote reading, and and he is an activist. He is a social activist, and he'd like to try to do more. I think he's not afraid to try and right wrongs, and he leads by example. He's a hardworking, dedicated, disciplined student athlete that's positioning himself to be able to, you know, do things for himself. He came to Auburn to win championships and try to make history. He has, and I think he'll continue to use his platform to try to make changes in a positive way.
Tim Booth from the Associated Press. Bruce, with all that your program, I'm back here, with all that your program has gone through this year off and on the court, what is it about, I guess, the makeup of these kids that has not, for the most part, allowed some of that stuff to seep in and for them to have the success they've had this year, for those of us that don't see you guys every day?
Yeah, I think because if you think about 365 days in a year, and you think about everything that you got to do all day, every day to put yourself in position to try to play for a championship, whether it be academically or in the weight room or your training or your diet or your rest or your practice, your individual workouts, shots at night, and then you go through a process with an internal investigation or answering questions from the NCAA, you know, you only do that for a few hours or whatever. That's it. And then you move on and go back to focusing on the things that you're at Auburn to do as a student athlete. So it doesn't dominate our thinking because it hasn't dominated our time. We've had to go through the process. The kids have gone through the process. The guys that are out there are all certified as eligible, and we've moved on. I feel really badly for a couple of guys that whose eligibility was denied because of the mistakes that were made, and feel responsible and accountable. And obviously, with those guys, we'd be even better. But they're out right now, and we had to move forward without them. And the kids have done a great job of that.
Final question over here.
Bruce, Gene Sapikoff from the Charleston Post and Courier. Do you still feel like you'll come out of this FBI mess personally okay? And when do you expect to talk to the Auburn investigators?
Well, I'm not going to comment specifically about that, but I am confident that when everything is said and done, that I'll still be coaching at Auburn.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.